Gather on the TV set, folks. The Bruce Show is on the air. Juice Bruce, get loose. You know that you got the juice, oh yeah. Loose, get loose. You know that you got the juice. Juice Bruce is on the air. Juice Bruce Show's on the air. All right, folks. I got the Super Bowl on. The lights are about to come back on, I think. So welcome to another Bruce Show. Here I come to save the day. But first, we got to give the prayer. So Lord, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. You are the greatest and the mightiest and the holiest ever in all the heavens and all the earths and anywhere else there ever might be. And we admire everything about you. We'd humbly strive to do your work here on earth, Lord. And Lord, we'd ask you for good health. We'd ask you to protect our soldiers. We'd ask you to spare the people from the disaster and tragedy around the world. And we'd ask you to let people see their common understanding. And we'd ask for these things in the name of the Lord. Amen. All right, so I had to turn the camera on, because here it was, a Super Bowl, and the lights went off, What? Ain't nothing going to work out right around here, huh? Maybe not. And then I had an instant idea for a song. Now I'm in trouble because I forgot my song. I already forgot it. Let's see. Maybe if I pick up this guitar. How'd that song go? All the lights went out in Massachusetts when my baby said goodbye. All the lights went out in Massachusetts turn it off when they come back on, probably. I can't tell what they're doing. There's people out on the field. They got the bird's eye view. You know, I'm always telling you like I'm the heavyweight, intellectual heavyweight champion of the world. How does that go? I think I'm the intellectual heavyweight champion of the world. Or maybe it goes, I think I'm the heavyweight intellectual champion of the world. Ow. Ow. But I can't predict the football game, right? I can't predict the football game. Oh, la, 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 Mercedes Benz, say like, la, 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 it's just like to say, But if I could predict a football game and the Patriots won, this is a song I was trying to play. Darryl Stingley, when he ran just like a deer. Him original North Time man, taking no time from Bay to here. Come on now, I say, come on, try to love yourself, at least drink your whiskey clear. And Darryl Stingley, he's the man that showed no fear. Original North Time man, taking no time from day try to love yourself, at least drink your whiskey clear. And Darryl Stanley, he the man that showed no fear. Hit it on the southbound in the pouring rain, baby, baby, rockin' like 'em, rockin' like 'em, hurricane, yeah, yeah, say, hit it on the southbound like there ain't nothing more. And Darryl Stanley at the door, I'm a shaking 3, 4, 9, 'cause there ain't no rhythm if there ain't no rhyme. And I go, Darryl Stanley, human, he ran just like a deer. The original no-time man, taking no time from day to here. Come on now, say, come on, try to love yourself, at least drink your whiskey clear. And Darryl Stanley, he the man that showed no fear. And now they wanna rock, well, let 'em just rock on down. Yeah, yes, a lot of steadily rockin', little steadily funky town. Yeah, yeah, say, and they wanna shine, well, let 'em just shine so bright. And Darryl Stanley, go and fight. I'm a shaking 3, 4, 9, 'cause there ain't no rhythm if there ain't no rhyme. And I go, Darryl Stanley, human, he ran just like a deer. Him original no-time man, and taking no time from day to here. Come on now, say, come on, try to love yourself, at least drink your whiskey clear. And Darryl Stanley, he the man that showed no fear. Say, all of us shake 'em all right now and just keep on rocking. Hey, now, and I'm just and Darryl Stanley, human, he ran just like a deer. Him original no-time man, taking no time from day to here. Come on now, I say, come on, try to love yourself, at least drink your whiskey clear. And Darryl Stanley, he the man that showed no fear. And Darryl Stanley, he the man that showed no fear. And Darryl Stanley, the man that showed no fear. Oh, Darryl Stanley, the man that showed no fear. How am I shaking? Oh, yeah. All right, folks. Well, they started up the game again, so I'll get back to you later. All right? I hope you enjoyed the game. James Ahitable from Amherst is out there. All right, I'll check you in a minute or later. All right, folks, I'm back inside the house now. Now it's getting towards the evening time. Today is Sunday, the 10th of February. So it's like a day after the blizzard or whatever, day and a half. And I don't know. You see, I got the camera from the studio, so I'm all in luck and everything, you know. I started off this Bruce show. I think what happened is that the lights went out at the Super Bowl, and I caught the inspiration. And I'm afraid to go look at that tape because I thought I'd keep going, and I hate to put a break in the tape. Sometimes it confuses a computer or something, but at the studio, when you got to put it on the log and capture. So now I got the other camera, but I didn't want to waste, you know, the 13, 14 minutes of tape on the other tape and not use it. And I didn't want to waste tape, you know. I hate inefficiency, you know. Economic inefficiency is bad. Yeah, like Mr. Rogers. Let me put my slippers on, kids. I'm telling you, been out there shoveling snow. I'm all strong, you know. Strong, like boom. Right in here. Gets you in here. And the back. The lower back. But everything's okay, so I gotta feel grateful for that. They say tomorrow it might be like raining or something. I don't know what they say. But, so now we're off tape, see. That's how I would know whether or not I was running out of time on the tape, is that with this camera, with the station's camera, in an hour, the red light starts blinking. So you know you used up an hour, time to go. But the other camera doesn't have that. And like I say, I was trying to figure out what was the most efficient way. I sat here for an hour and a half trying to figure out whether it was better to record the last 13 minutes of tape on the other camera or just go with this camera. Because this camera records a 64-minute tape in 64 minutes. And the other one, it's a cheesier camera, you know. Comes out grainier and it's not as good anyways, and it can't zoom as much. But it also uses up the tape faster. It uses up a 64-minute tape in 43 minutes. Took me a long time to figure that out. You remember all those shows? I didn't know I was getting to the end. And well, whatever. I kept saying I got to get a clock. I got a clock, but I can't see it because it's behind the light. So we're just going to have to see whether I can time this correctly or not. You know what I'm saying? So, all the news of the day and all the things that was said, you know. The last show I did there, it was about the gun control thing, you know, and I went on pretty well, you know. Sometimes I think I'm strident, you know. Sometimes I think I'm like, you know, filling it up with, you know, oratory or something, you know. But then, you know, I met this guy. I didn't really know him, you know. I did a little job for him, and you know, he knew me a little bit or something. He was talking about the TV, you know, the TV show and stuff, and he wanted to watch it. He wanted to know when it was on, and you know, and I was a little reluctant because it was the one where I back in December where I started talking about abortion, and I was afraid I was too, you know, too strident, like I say, you know, and so he watched the thing. And then afterwards he told me, you know, I said, you know, did you think I was like, you know, too offensive or anything? And he was like, no, no. He was like, not at all. You were just, you know, just doing good points or something. So, hey, you see, I guess I better turn it up a notch or two or something, because maybe I'm not really talking that much anyways, you know? So, it had me some ideas, you see. I made an outline, sort of. You can wonder if I can follow it. It's kind of funny though, because even though I made an outline, I was thinking about getting my book out here, and I forgot to do it. But now I got the book, not the book. I got this book. You know about this book, right? This is going to be hard to do again. Where's my chart? Alright, this is one of the things I had, right? My chart. Intellectual arguments. You get up near the philosophical's up near the top. Theological, that's all the way up to the top. Down the bottom you get your base instinctive arguments. Practical's not too far up there. I don't have everything, you know. Like I said before, we don't have emotional on there. We don't have, some other things probably. But what was I trying to get to was a different one. But, you know, like I say, I want to keep it up there. I want to keep the arguments higher, you know. So, alright, remember this one? Remember this one? I was talking about the communism. I was talking about the Marxist approach here we got in the progressive Democrats and stuff. But, so I was doing praxis for you, but I started off, forget about the praxis for a minute, alright? Let's start off with this part, reality and ideality. The real world and the world that we wish it were. The world that we wish it was. Wished it to be. So, you know, although idealism is a very good thing and indispensable for humankind, still, we have to keep our ideas grounded in the real. You know, because that's where we are. We're in reality. You know, reality. Let me look at me outline. How's this go? Oh yeah. No, I know, but you know, I mean, what is the reality of the world? Is everything peaches and whipped cream? You know, or are there harsh parts? I don't know. There's a guy in the library in there where I go to do my morning reading, you know. I got some magazines. And they got a Playboy, and it has Richard Dawkins, I believe his name is. This guy is like a big atheist. He gets a lot of print and celebrity for being an atheist. For not believing in God and going around talking about it. You know, so his wisdom on that subject was that, you know, Darwin's theory of evolution, that disproves God. According to him, according to his reason and his logic, Darwin's theory of evolution, that's how the world works, and God has nothing to do with it. That explains the wonders of the world, and God had nothing to do with it. Okay, that's his idea. And, you know, I mean, I didn't really set out here. I don't want to really get into it with this guy, you know. It's not my fault that he's a vapid moron, you know. That's his problem, you know. But just going with what he said, I mean, I guess he can't conceive of the concept that if God could create all of this, he couldn't create Darwin's theory of evolution, you know, or God's model of evolution, if you prefer, you know, to keep things running. But, you know, just say this guy, you know, he wants to eliminate God and put Darwin's theory in its stead. Just going with that. Well, what does Darwin's theory say? What does Darwin's theory say? You know, survival of the fittest. You know, the most adapted to their environment will be the most likely to survive and pass on their genes to the next generation, who will then be more suited to their environment. Right? They say survival of the fittest. Another way to say the strong survive. You know? Which is not exactly Darwin's theory, because sometimes the most adapted is not the strongest, essentially, or the most aggressive, you know? Maybe the most aggressive gets into too many encounters and has a lower probability of survival, or whatever, you know? Maybe the one most capable of forming symbiotic relationships is the most well adapted to survive. Okay, there's other, you know, there's other ways of looking at it besides the strong shall survive. But certainly the strong shall survive is one way of looking at it, all right, and true in a lot of cases. Okay, so if you're one of the people that dismisses God and replaces him with Darwin, right, and you think that it's survival of the fittest out here, right, then how do you possibly, as I was talking about gun control before, how do you possibly go along with the contention that you should eliminate a person's tool of self-defense? You know, that doesn't make any kind of logical sense, does it? You know, here in Massachusetts, and we went through it on the Bruce Show for a couple episodes probably, and they had the bullying thing, right? And everybody, you know, bullying is bad. I don't like people going around getting bullied, you know. But, you know, the state of Massachusetts made up a lot of provisions and laws and you know, things that they were doing. The DA here in Hampshire County was prosecuting the kids that were accused of bullying the girl down in South Hadley. It took her life. And so I guess you do concede that there are bullies in the world, you know. I'm sure you must be able to concede there are bullies in the world, whether on a small scale or a big scale, you know. Some people think our whole society is based on a concept of bullying, you know, that we have like social Darwinisms, and that the survival of the fittest pertains to our own society, you know. But you can debate that if you want, you know. That's not really what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that if it is a godless world that you believe in, and you believe it's a survival of the species situation, then why would you give away your right to self-defense? How does that make any kind of logical sense? You know, if you believe there are bullies and that people get picked on, why would you give away your right to self-defense? That doesn't make any sense. The only way it makes any sense to give away your right to self-defense is that you actually believe in an idealized world, an ideality. You believe that you can live in ideality, where no one will pick on anyone, you know. And, you know, that's all well and good if you want to live there, but I don't think you can take the rest of the world there with you. Just not working out. You know, one of the things they say in the gun, with the gun people is that Thomas Jefferson proposed that all men are created equal. And Abraham Lincoln reaffirmed Thomas Jefferson's proposition that all men are created equal. And Samuel Colt proved it. You know? I mean, that's what a firearm is, really. It's a great equalizer. You know? Because some people are always going to be in the position of having power over, you know, strength over you in one way or another. You know? In a world without weapons or firearms or of any kind, then the strongest, most aggressive person that just uses other things is dominant. You know? You have no recourse against him because you can't stand up to him. You know? The whole liberal argument against, you know, in this gun debate is essentially like it's misses the point of history too. It's not looking at historically what has happened. You know, they you know, the registration deal here with the gun control debate. I can ask my friends or people that I know, and you know, we're NRA members and stuff, and they don't really know what they're talking about anyways. I don't know what they're talking about. There's none of that around here, okay? If you buy a gun in Massachusetts, you fill out paperwork and you send it in. I don't know what they do with it, but that's what happens, That's the way you're supposed to do it. You know? I mean, could two people that wanted to transfer a gun from one to another do it without filling out the paperwork? Would there be some way that they could, you know, be forced to do it, to comply? I don't know, you know. That's what behavior that's against the law is about, really. You know, I bought a shotgun off a man, a private sale, and I had to go down to the police station, get a form. I filled it out with him, got his information. I took it over to Dave over when we had a Pioneer Sporting Goods store over in Northampton there, and he helped me fill it out, the paperwork, and he sent it in for me, I think. And you know, so that's all, like, around here. That's not really existent, you know. You know, I could be talk about these things in a reasonable manner or whatever, but I just tell you, like, you know, you say, why would anybody be opposed to that? You know, why don't we at least find out where all the guns are, you know? And you can't understand why the gun rights people are like, no, we don't want that, you know? We got to keep the right to just keep these things and trade them back and forth or whatever, you know? And so I'll tell you, you know, really, what the NRA doesn't, I guess they don't really want to say to everybody or publicize too much, because maybe they're afraid people call them paranoid or whatever. But they're afraid that gun registration is like the initial step to gun confiscation. You know, that the government can't realistically confiscate guns at this point because they don't know where they are, you know. Even with gun registration, they wouldn't know where they are, to tell you the truth, you know, because that's one of the things. Well, let me just finish with the registration. You know, the NRA is like, you know, if you want to register them, then they'll just, you know, wait until they can get their way, something else happens or whatever, and then they'll know right to where to go to try to collect them, you know. I'm sure it wouldn't be quite that easy, you know, but that's their fear. The more of these laws that you create, you know, the more gun laws that there are, the more people you turn into lawbreakers, you know. I know perfectly upright citizens here in the state of Massachusetts who have guns, all right, who are the farthest thing from criminals that you would want to meet, all right, but they don't have an FID card, okay? They didn't keep up, or they couldn't keep up, or they just never bothered to keep up, or they think it doesn't apply to them, or whatever the hell they think. But, you know, they don't think they really need one, I guess. You know, they don't really think they're doing anything wrong. You know? So they got a gun somewhere in the house, you know? The FID card here in Massachusetts, that costs you $100. Well, I'm not sure what it is now. It was $100 for like 4 years. Mitt Romney raised the price of that. I think it was $25 for 4 years before that. And it started off at $0. It was just a thing to make people, you know, have to register and stuff. Then they've raised the price, you know, since then. It might have gone down a little bit to $100 for 6 years, but I'm not sure of that. I haven't looked at the thing lately. But, you know, that's like, you know, keeping people that have guns have to have a license. In order to have a pistol, carry a pistol or a large capacity magazine like an AR has, then you have to have a Class A license to carry. That's a higher license than an FID card. Okay, that's what I got, is a FID card. I can have rifles, shotguns, and, you know, so long as nothing has more than, I think, a 7-round clip, 7-shot capacity or something, you know, which includes most hunting weapons. So, you know, so that's the, you know, the history of registration. That's the way the Nazis did it, you know. That's they first they registered the guns, and then they went around and collected them. And then after they collected the guns, then they started collecting people. You know, and there wasn't very much those people could do about the fact that they were being put on trucks and trains. And you know what happened. The Holocaust happened. It's kind of stupefying that, like, you know, the Jewish intellectuals seem to be totally anti-guns. You know, I mean, are you blind to history, or just don't care? Just don't think this can repeat itself anywhere. You know, but that's the history. You know, you think the brown shirts pulling up to somebody's house over there in Germany in the 1930s? That person was inside the door, the bolted doors, with you know, a couple of high capacity hunting rifles or something. You think they wouldn't have stopped and thought twice? What would you do if your choice was between fighting it out and fighting to the death, or just going along meekly to your death, you know, a death of suffering? You know, what would you do? What would you do for your family? Would you just go? So, you know, that's the reason for the Second Amendment. You know, it's not about going hunting, and it's not about shooting pieces of paper. It's about our safety. It's about our right to defend ourselves from harm, from other people, from criminals, from people that have bad intent. And it's also about our right to protect ourselves from a out of control government, from a tyranny of our own government, or anyone else's government for that matter. That we have the right to self-defense. It's a fundamental concept. You know? Other countries have given it away, you know, to their detriment. But we don't plan on doing it around here. You know, so the other thing is, like, you know, the whole gun debate here is apparently, you know, we just don't want to address the problem, you know. We don't want to even find out what the problem is, as far as I can tell, you know. You ever see, every time there's one of these horrific gun events, it goes to 24/7 coverage on all the cable networks, all right, when it starts, right? And then they have no information. They just sit there telling you that this has happened, and something's in a lockdown, and the sheriff's on the way, you know, going to give us news conference, and you know, they're going to get some information. And then the thing goes on, like, you know, for whatever, a day or 2 days, 3 days, they're going to talk about it, and there's virtually no new information. After that, it's the body count, the guy's name, you know, how many guns he had, that sort of thing. And, you know, where's the background? Where's the probe of whatever, motive, circumstance? You know, what set this guy off? You know, I hear, guys, there's some allusion to that these people are, you know, psychotic, being treated for personality disorders, they're on antipsychotic medication or different, you know, antidepressant medication, certainly. You know, but we don't find out. We can't find out. How are we going to make an informed decision about what would be the best way to safeguard our society when you don't even want to talk about what the problem is? You know, it's not everybody that owns a firearm that walks down to some place that they feel is totally unprotected and just randomly killing people. You know, that's a select few crazy. Well, oh man, and I told you, right? I told you, and I can't even believe it. Now with a joker here, he want to be found innocent by reason of insanity, or not guilty by reason of insanity. You should have figured out you were insane before you pulled the trigger. All right, before you loaded up, before you fantasized all this in some kind of deviant, you know, preoccupation. All right, it's too late for that now. I don't care if the death penalty is a deterrent or not. It must be a deterrent because these people don't want to die afterwards. They spared this Loeffner guy. Are you kidding me? No sparing these people. They ain't no air left for these people. Just, you know, a trial, a retrial, and boom, boom, out go the lights. Let them know. Let everybody know. You pull this, you're gone. It doesn't matter how crazy you are. Yeah, you're obviously crazy. Who else but a crazy person would do that? No one. But that's not an excuse. Okay, you did it. That's what matters. You did it, now you're gone. No more, no more time for these people. All right? Same thing with those killers down in Connecticut. Out go the lights. Fast as possible. You can't do that. You can't do that and expect to be left around. So, I looked at I read the outline. I don't like this outline deal. I'm getting transfixed on this piece of paper. Got too many distractions. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it's good. We'll try. I said most everything that's on here. You know, I got the little winding up thing on. It's like that, basically Obama's going around seeking to inform public opinion, right, about guns, right? When the public opinion is kept misinformed by not getting any information, by not finding out what's wrong with these people, you know? What the real problem is here, why people got to go out and seek this sort of, I mean, it's unbelievable, really. They just gave Hollywood $500 million in the tax hike bill that just went through, right? They sit and they can constantly gripe and moan that the oil and gas industries get like a $4 or $5 billion tax subsidy, right? Well, it's okay for Hollywood. They just did it, you know? But the oil and gas people shouldn't get it, you know? Everybody needs oil and gas, right? If you ain't got it, if they don't get the money from there, they're going to raise the price and get it from us, you know? So, what? Yeah, it's some money, you know? Eliminate all of it if you want to. They should eliminate ethanol. That's ridiculous, you know? But to pick on oil and gas while you go around favoring Hollywood with bestowals, and look at their whole reaction to this thing. You don't think that all that violence that the media is pushing at us night and day? I can't even believe the new TV shows that they're putting on. Totally ungodly. I'm telling you, next show is going to be about ungodly, and we're going to go into that. You know, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. All right? Because there's been a lot of that going on. So, I don't know how long I talked yet, but I think I might be closing in. If there's any time, I'm going to, well, maybe I'll play you a song. Or else I'll show you a commercial. Alright, hold on. Alright, folks, I'll tell you what happened. It was another one of these timing issues here. I don't know, I guess I couldn't remember how much time was off the first tape or something, but we're 12 minutes short, you lucky people. You get 12 more minutes of funk here. Alright, so I know I threatened to get you into that, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord shall not hold him guiltless who taketh his name in vain, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the sons to the third and fourth generations. I said we were going to get into that, but we're going to wait, because that requires more time than 12 minutes. And I want to throw the song in too at the end. But, you know, today is, it's Monday morning now. We're having a little bit of iciness outside and stuff. I'm not really sure what the deal is, if things are canceled today or not, but, you know, like I say, we got to finish this Bruce show, and then we'll see if we can go to the studio. I don't know. So, you know, I thought maybe one thing I would say, one thing we could get into just more briefly is, you know, the drone thing is going on now. The drone controversy about, you know, what's the constitutionality of killing people, remote control, you know, who's responsible, what the limitations are. You know, I guess, you know, the Obama administration released, you know, something to NBC News, their justification of this drone policy. And, you know, I guess they did it because, you know, they don't want to get to the end and then be considered international war criminals. You know, they want to get some kind of you know, they need a little bit of participation from other people, approval from the other side, you know, to say it's okay or whatever, so they don't get held responsible, you know. So what I want to say about that is, you know, well, you know, you say, how did you get to be the intellectual heavyweight champion of the world? Like I keep telling you, right? Well, first you got to have a lot of diverse experience, you know. So when I was a kid, we lived uptown in Amherst, right on South Prospect Street, 55. And we had a big old house with, we had 6 rooms upstairs that we rented out, and we had an apartment downstairs that was rented out. And all kinds of people came through our house in the 60s and 70s. You know, it was a central place, I guess you'd say. And I remember one fella came through, lived at our house for a while, and he'd just come back from Vietnam. He was just back from the war, and he didn't look like a soldier really. I can't remember the fellow's name, but he was kind of roly-poly, you know, and kind of cherubic, you know. He's kind of like curly blonde hair, and I think he had blue eyes. Very friendly kind of guy, and you know, we used to sit out on the porch when the weather was nice sometimes around there, and you know, I talked to this guy. I was you know, 10, 11 or something, you know, and maybe a little older, and you know, I asked this guy, like, you know, what it was like to be in Vietnam, you know. And he said, well, he was in Easy Company. Easy Company, I don't know if you remember or are this old, but back in that day, like CBS News, Dan Rather was embedded or whatever with Easy Company. And every night practically on the CBS Evening News, you would get a report from the field, from Easy Company, you know, see what they were doing. And I'm like, did you ever see Dan Rather or, you know, be on TV? And he was like, no, I stayed away from any of that, he says. And I said, well, you know, what happened? You know, did you shoot people? When you shot somebody, did you, like, you know, put a notch in your gun or something? And he just kind of laughed, you know. He sort of laughed, and he said, no, he says, he's like, well, first of all, he says, the gun is made out of plastic. The stocks and everything on the gun are made out of plastic, so there's no putting notches in them anyways. And then he said, well, you know, I never shot anybody in Vietnam. I was like, you never shot anybody? How do you know you didn't shoot anybody, you know? Didn't you shoot into the trees and everything? And he's like, no, he says, I never discharged my weapon. I was like, huh? You were over there in the bush with the Easy Company? And, you know, I've seen it on TV. They have firefights every night, you know. And he's like, no, I didn't shoot. I said, didn't you get into trouble for that? You know, didn't your commanding officer, like, you know, try to discipline you, or you know, your buddies get pissed off at you because you weren't participating or something? And he said, no. He says, it wasn't about that. It wasn't about killing people if you didn't want to, he says. I was like, well, what was it about, you know? And he said, well, the thing that you had to do, he says, the thing that was important, he says, you had to have your ass in the grass. That's what you had to do. You know, there was no, that was a responsibility that you couldn't forsake, okay? You had to have your ass in the grass right next to your buddies and have his back, All right, that's what you had to do, but you didn't have to kill somebody else if you didn't want to. So, you know, that was kind of a revelation to me. You know, at that time, I was like, I didn't really think that that was the way it would be, but that's what he told me. And since then, you know, I think that I mean, that's kind of like a morality of war. You know, that we ought to respect, I think. You know, you have to have your ass in the grass. Okay? This death from above, these drones and you know, just instant vaporization, I guess you would say. You don't even know you're under attack until you blow up. You know, it's essentially just like terrorism. You know, I mean, yeah, you're supposedly targeting a specific person or a specific bad guy or something, but still, you're killing them with high explosives. There's going to be a lot of things and people other than the target that gets destroyed, you know. And the main point is, you don't have your ass in the grass. You're taking no risk. You know, you're not putting anything out there. You're just taking lives indiscriminately, basically. Well, not indiscriminately, but without risk. The only risk is to your machinery, or maybe your psychology, but not to your actual person. And like I say, you should have to have your ass in the grass. Reminds me of the end of Patton, you know, when they're interviewing Patton on the horse there, and, you know, they ask him about the Nazi wonder weapons that they were just creating at that time. And he says, I don't see the wonder in them. You know, war without heroes, without cowards, without honor, it won't mean anything. And we should recognize, you know, we got all the drones now. We're dropping death out of the sky on unsuspecting people at this point. But what if that turns around? You know, I mean, drone technology is not the most difficult thing for somebody to master, you know, especially when you lose one over in Iran or whatever and they can duplicate it. You know, pretty soon we could be the victims of drones instead of the persecutors. You know what I'm saying? And then then maybe we won't look at it quite the same way, you know? That it's okay. All right, so, you know, last time at the end of the show, I tried to play this country music song I heard on the radio, and I was apologizing because it didn't get all the words down, I guess. And then since then, I heard it on the radio a few more times, and I definitely didn't have the words right. But I don't care, all right? So that's the thing. I'm going to just do it my way now, and we'll just forget about how it was supposed to go, okay? Because it was a little too sad for me anyways. I appreciated it. You know, it's the blues, and, you know, the blues ain't happy or whatever, but so I got this in G, D, and A if you care. What was I going to say? Something about this. I'll say, yeah, I tried to do it the way they said. I skipped whole parts of it, you know. He's like, take off that leaving dress. Let's do what we do best. Right? And then he has another line I skipped completely. He's like, lay your head in my bed. Lay down and love me like you love me when you love me. So, all right, that's the way it went. Oh, and that's what it was. That part where he says, let's lay down and die. He doesn't say that. He says, let's lay down tonight. And kiss tomorrow goodbye. But like I say, I changed that part. I told you about, that's what I was going to say, that Spencerian thing. I hate it when people do that to me. You know, they bring up some obscure reference and then they talk about it without explaining it. So that Spencerian thing I was talking about, you know, that lay down and die, and look at that in the Spencerian. Spencer, I think I'm right about this. I took English, you know. This was one of them old English poets there back in the Renaissance days. And these guys couldn't write, like, you know, graphic type, any kind of pornographic description of anything, you know. They couldn't address, like, love making, you know, explicitly. They had to cloak it in metaphor, right? So their metaphor for making love, for culminating your love act, was to die, okay? So when you hear me singing this, that's how I want to look at it, okay? See if I can get through this 4 times without making a mistake. We're just doing sort of the chorus. There's a whole bunch of other words to this song. I don't care. I shouldn't say that. I care. How? Like I say, I change the words a little bit, make it happier. How? Let's lay this leaving down, go fetch another round. Then lay down and love me like you love me when you love me and you didn't have to try. Let's lay down and die. And then tomorrow we fly. Hold on tight and get down. Hold on tight, I say. Let's lay this leaving down, go fetch another round. Then lay down and love me like you love me when you love me and you didn't have to try. Let's lay down and die. And then tomorrow we'll fly. Hold on tight, I'm almost down. Hold on tight, I'll say. Let's lay this leaving down, go fetch another round. Then lay down and love me like you love me when you love me and you didn't have to try. Let's lay down and die. And then tomorrow we'll fly. Hold on tight, I was getting down. Hold on tight, I said. Let's lay this leaving down, go fetch another round. And lay down and love me like you love me when you love me and you didn't have to try. Let's lay down and die. And then tomorrow we'll fly. Hold on tight, we're shaking round. Hold on tight, we'll shake it down. All right, folks. I blew that one up good too. I was bad on that. I missed the chord changes every time except for the last one. So, thanks for being with me. We'll try to get it right next time. All right? And we'll be back pretty soon with another Bruce Show, okay? Later.
Gather on the TV set, folks. The Bruce Show is on the air. Choose Bruce.